Hey, what's going on YouTube? So today I wanted to do my college football playoff predictions heading into week 6. So pretty big shakeup inside the top 5 this week. Last week I believe I had Georgia, Michigan State, Baylor, and Ohio State. So not, I guess I wouldn't say a huge change this week, but definitely a decent one. So go ahead and start with my 4 outside. So I think that all the top 8 teams right now in the AP Top 25, I've gotten these polls right now, or gotten this playoff prediction. So go ahead and start with number 4, Michigan State, 3 TCU, 2 LSU, and then 1 Utah. So Michigan State had a rough weekend against Purdue. I think with the amount that they're struggling right now, just to be able to put these teams away that are not even close to the top 25, not even close to the upper tier of the Big Ten. It's going to hurt Michigan State in the long run if they're a one-loss team. Just seeing other one-loss teams right now like Stanford, USC, Alabama, with one quality loss compared to Michigan State, where if they do get 1 or 2 losses, it will be to a quality team. But they're not beating other quality teams by decent amounts. Their biggest quality win right now is Oregon, which isn't looking too good. I do still think Michigan State has a chance to make the playoff. A very good chance at that. But I do think it's looking a little bit bleaker for them right now. Not to say that they're out of the top. Definitely not to say they're out of the playoff race in general. They're still in the thick of it. So move on to TCU. This just comes down to the pure fact that I don't think the Big 12 is going to have 2 teams in the playoff. TCU and Baylor would just have to demolish every other single Big 12 team they play, and I just don't think that's going to happen. TCU and Baylor did do a good job to start off well in their Big 12 slates last week. TCU beat Texas by quite a bit, 50-7, and then Baylor beat Texas Tech, I believe, was 63-35. So both teams looking good right now, but I do think that TCU, with the amount of defensive injuries they have, is going to be a team left outside the college football playoff right now. So move on to LSU. I think LSU could easily be one of the top two or three SEC teams this year, just because of the strength of their defense and Leonard Fournette. Their defense hasn't been playing fantastic, but I think it's enough to get it done for them. Again, quarterback play's got to be a little bit better, but when you've got, I'd say, the best player in the country right now in Leonard Fournette, probably by far, then you're in good shape. So move on to Utah. Utah's a trendy pick for the college football playoff right now for obvious reasons. My thing with Utah is, though, I don't know if Travis Wilson's going to be consistent enough to get them inside the playoff. They still have a ton of tough games left, including USC, and if they go to the Pac-12 championship, and they're probably going to have to play a team like Stanford or Cal. So, and they do have to get through Cal this week. I don't think that they're going to be consistent enough to go through Pac-12 play undefeated, and I do think that it's Utah. If they do have 1 loss, so they will probably not be in the college football playoff. So move on to my set of 4 teams. So start off at number 4. I got Clemson. Clemson's earned their right to be in the college football playoff right now. They did allow Notre Dame to come back in the 4th quarter, but it ended up being a very close game, but they did control it for the first 3 quarters. Defense looked good. Again, Deshaun Watson did just enough for them to win, which I do think, for the time being, will keep Deshaun Watson in the Heisman race. He, like I said, statistically has not been very good, but he's got it done for them so far this year. With Florida State struggling, Georgia Tech completely falling off, I think that Clemson is the clear favorite right now for the ACC. I do think that it's a very real possibility for them to go undefeated this year, and if they do go undefeated, then I think they're a clear choice for the college football playoff. So move on to number 3. I've got Alabama. So Alabama had a big win against Georgia. They needed that win very badly, especially with how badly they beat Georgia. Now, obviously, the Ole Miss loss is not looking great right now, but I do think 1-loss Bama team would definitely be in the college football playoff, especially if they win another SEC title. I think that Alabama's, I wouldn't say obviously not a 2-loss season, but I do think they'll be able to get through Texas A&M. I think they'll be able to get through LSU. Again, tough games, definitely. But I think that they're still pissed off from that Ole Miss game. I don't think they're going to lose another game, at least in the regular season. Come playoff time, maybe not. But I think that Georgia game was the big win they needed to propel themselves back on track. So move on to number 2. I've got Baylor. So I've been saying this since the beginning of the year. I think Baylor is the favorite coming out of the Big 12, and I think they will stay that way. Even if they are a one-loss team this year, well, I don't know about one loss, but I do think they're going to beat TCU. I think even with one loss, they might be able to still get in. They've been looking really good. Defense played a little bit better last week against a very good Tech offense and a very good quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. Do think the Baylor's going to be able to run through their schedule. OU is going to be a tough game. Of course, TCU is going to be a tough game. It is in Fort Worth, which is going to be tough for Baylor. TCU plays very well at home, as all you all saw last weekend. Now, I think if one thing's going to be highlighted this week, it's going to be that TCU is not a very good road team. I do think that they're going to play very close with Kansas State. I do think that Kansas State is a better team than a lot of people give them credit for this year. But I do think that TCU is going to be one of the, if not the toughest out at home, one of the toughest teams to beat at home in the country this year. So move on to number 1, Ohio State. So again, another week of Ohio State looking like just kind of looking like crap offensively outside of Ezekiel Elliott. Elliott's been their knight in shining armor this year. He's been everything for them on offense. Defense has been playing all right, but they need more out of Cardale Jones. They need more out of their receivers. It just needs more rhythm. The passing game's been pretty much terrible, and they've been relying too heavily on Ezekiel Elliott for 200-yard games and maybe 2 or 3 score games as well. And, you're just not going to be able to get that against teams like Michigan and Michigan State, maybe even against Northwestern. So I don't think that Ohio State should be knocked off the number 1 seed right now. To me, again, still number 1 team in the country until proved otherwise, that there's another team that's clearly better. But things are starting to look pretty murky for Ohio State. As long as they can run through this as long as they can run through the lower half of their conference schedule, I think they'll be fine. I think that'll give them enough momentum to be able to beat teams like Michigan State and Michigan, and get themselves into another college football playoff. I think even as a one-loss team, Ohio State would be. I think they'd be able to get into the college football playoff. So yeah, that's my college football playoff predictions heading into week 6. See how things go this weekend. Not a huge amount of games. Big top 25 games on top this weekend, but a few. So yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.